With the new year rolling in, many of us are wanting to look forward to hopefully a better time in 2021. But with it being mostly still ahead of us, all we can do now is guess and predict what's to come. So that's what I'm going to do today. Look at 21 of my NASCAR predictions for 2021. Starting off, let's look at the playoff prediction. I think that Bubba Wallace and his number 23, 2311 racing team will qualify for the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. In 2020, Bubba outran his equipment multiple times. Races like Michigan really come to my mind, where he's running in the top 5 at the 20th place car. Now, he has basically a 5th JGR car, much better than a Petty car, even if it is the 5th wheel. With his overall skill as well as how well he can run at super speedways, his chances are higher than most people think to excel in 2021. As for another breaking through, we have to go down and look at the NASCAR Xfinity Series. For years now, Ryan Sieg has slowly been improving the performance of his career. For years, he would squeak out a top 10 or maybe 2 a year, having an average finish of 18th to 21st. In 2019, he took a jump up, scoring a few top 5s, and in 2020, he really rose up with 7 top 5s and 11 top 10s. And it's not like those were runs at super speedways or just fuel mileage runs. They were straight up good runs. I think 2021 will be the year that he breaks through and gets his first career victory. Now, a less positive prediction for me will be that the 550 package is gonna suck, especially if major changes aren't made. I've been pretty bearish on my view of this package since it came out in 2019, but 2020 proved to me just how bad it really is. And having more experience with this, the teams now know what to key in on, so I really don't see it holding some great treasure trove of competition. With that being said though, I do think it will produce at least one good race or one good moment that stands out from the rest of the absolute crap. Look at the Spring Kansas race in 2019, or the 2020 Kentucky finish. Those are your references to what I'm talking about. This package will be disliked and controversial even, but I think that one race will be so much more controversial among fans than this. This being Bristol Dirt. NASCAR fans will always be sure of one thing, that they're never sure of one thing. So, when you mess with a track that's as beloved as Bristol, don't expect the fans to be singing a bunch of praises. I think that Dirt Bristol will be the most controversial Cup race and the most divisive Cup race since the 2015 Chase Talladega race. Yeah, I think it'll be that bad among fans. Now, another controversial prediction I have is that there's going to be at least one outside-the-box driver that makes the Final Four in Cup. There has been a pretty small group of drivers that has made the Cup Final Four over the last couple years, but I think in 2021 we're going to have at least one new member of that group. There are a few drivers that come to mind for me. Ryan Blaney is on the brink of breaking through for a while, so maybe him. Alex Bowman was red hot at the end of last season and may take it up another step in 2021. And hell, why not throw in Kyle Larson? He has something to prove and he has talent, so let's not count him out. One of these three may break through to a new level, or it might be someone that we're not even thinking of right now. On another positive, competitive note, I think that Tyler Reddick will be consistently competitive. While I don't see Tyler Reddick being a championship contender, I do think he's only a year or two away. While the results don't completely show it, Reddick has been very competitive and outran every other 2020 rookie by a lot. I think that Reddick will be a borderline top 10 driver next year, kind of like what Kurt Busch or Ryan Blaney is right now. And also, he's going to get at least one victory. Speaking of young drivers scoring wins, I think that Chase Elliott, our defending champion, will be scoring 5 or more wins in 2021. The defending champion has red-hot momentum on his hands, and there's no reason to think that he would just slow down all of a sudden this upcoming season. With tons of road courses being added to the schedule and Chevrolet's new engine being used full-time next year, which by the way is the one he used to dominate at Phoenix, I think that there's no reason to see why 5 wins or more is unattainable. So buckle up, NASCAR fans, because your boy is going to go off. Speaking of Chevrolet, they will dominate the coming year. So I explained the engine basically powering Chevy's potential dominance, but how about the drivers? Well, you have the aforementioned Chase Elliott. Then you also have Alex Bowman, who's the second hottest driver behind Elliott. Kyle Larson, a driver with buttloads of talent, has returned and could potentially add to this as well. Then there's Kurt Busch, who is always consistent and really underrated overall. Ross Chastain, a driver who almost always exceeds his equipment, is now in the 42 car. RCR is also improving with both Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, who have shown flashes of greatness in the last year. Chevy is the most primed to win this year that it has been since 2014 or 2015. An entity that is not primed to succeed right now, though, is ARCA. I think ARCA is on a bad path right now in its current format. What helped the series recently, whether under the ARCA label or the K&N label, was the star power of Hailie Deegan. But with her star power gone now in trucks, not many eyeballs are going to stick around. They're going to go to trucks with her. So unless there is some star out there that's coming up, I really see that they're going to have to be in real talks about reforming how ARCA is right now. Staying down in the lower series, let's go mudding in the truck series. While Dirt Bristol is very controversial, the truck race at Knoxville is one that's highly anticipated. Set in the middle of the summer on a Friday night, this race is a spiritual continuation of the Eldora Mud Summer Classic, and seeing how it's at such a significant dirt track, I see this being an instant classic. And speaking of classics, I think we're going to see at least one all-time great NASCAR moment in 2021. There's no real rhyme or reason to this one. There's no statistics. There's just merely my intuition and opinion to why I think this will happen. I just think it will. We'll get one last great moment before the Gen 6 is out. Now back to one that has a little actual data behind it. Kyle Busch is going to have a bounce-back season. Last year, Busch had the least amount of wins in a season in his career, just one at Texas in the 34th race of the year. But this is far out of the ordinary. The last time he had a season like this in any capacity was 2014, and until 2020, he was one of the best drivers, or the best driver of every season, 2015 to 2020 that is. And other all-time greats have had off seasons during their runs of dominance. Just look at Dale Earnhardt in 1992. So I think Kyle Busch will be just fine and score at least 3 victories next year. Now, another driver who struggled in 2020 was the aforementioned Hailie Deegan. Seeing how she's moving up to the truck series, the goalposts of expectations will move as well. While she's not expected to set the world on fire, she is expected to be competitive in some capacity. But I think that she will not be within the normal lines of expectations in her performance. I think she's going to surprise. Whether that's for the good or the bad is up to you to decide. Speaking of the truck series, I think it will regain the title of being the best series in NASCAR amongst fans. Last year, many said the Xfinity was the best series, and it's pretty hard to argue. But with fun drivers like Chase Briscoe and Ross Chastain moving to Cup, the competition level is inevitably going to be moving downward this year. Plus, the truck series is always great, so there really isn't going to be any change in that next year, I don't think. Another success in the 2021 season will be the triple header at COTA. I've been on the NASCAR COTA bandwagon for years now, and I think that next year it's going to pay off. With how good most of NASCAR's road course races have been, there isn't too much to say that the racing wouldn't be really fun to watch and wouldn't be a success. So watch out for that COTA weekend next year. Now, on a more downward note, I think that Aric Almirola is actually going to be the worst performing of the 4 SHR drivers. At the end of 2020, this was the case, and it was due to a downward trend for Almirola, as well as an improvement from Cole Custer. I think that in 2020, Custer will continue to improve. Briscoe will be a solid rookie and better than expectations for a lot of people, and Kevin Harvick will be Kevin Harvick. This leaves Almirola, who I think is going to regress back to the mean. This will also be interesting for Almirola's career prospects moving forward and what contracts come up. A more mixed prediction that I have is that NASCAR's viewership will mostly go up in 2021. For about the last 3 years, NASCAR's viewership has really stabilized, and this is a huge step up from the hemorrhaging of viewers from 2005 to 2017. And I think this continues next year. NASCAR's opening 25 to 30 races have either been flat or up in the last 2 years, and studies have shown that younger generations are starting to take the sport on better. Where the issues come into play is the last month of the season, where viewership has tanked off of a cliff in the last couple years. And this is due to both the NFL being in full swing and the disconnect that the current playoff system has with fans. If this comes true again, NASCAR may need to start making some major changes again. Back to the positives. I think that there will be a ton of parity in Cup in 2021. My prediction is that there will be at least 16 or more drivers winning next year. With more teams seeming to rise in performance at the end of 2020 and better teams cooling off in that time, and young drivers also coming into their own, the pieces are in place for tons of parity. Parity we haven't seen in at least a decade. Indirectly, this means I'm also predicting more first-time winners as well. This will also make for a crazier playoff grid. In the playoffs, though, I think once again many fans will end up furious at the Cup champion. This is because I think that the best driver all season, once again, will not win the NASCAR Cup Series title. In 2020, Kevin Harvick had one of the best seasons in 30 years, yet he finished the season with no shot of winning the title. I think that this will happen once again, maybe not to as big a level as Harvick's season, but it will happen again in 2021, where the guy with the best statistical season will lose out. And I can already hear the angry tweeters yelling. Now, let's finish this video off with two positive predictions. First off, the NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader at IMS will have a great impact on the racing fans in the area and, in turn, will help attendance. This effect is going to help stabilize the reputation of NASCAR at the track, and this will have huge significance on both series' future and cannot be overlooked at all next year. And for the 21st and final prediction that I have for the upcoming season, I think that we will have a full capacity sellout crowd for the season finale at Phoenix. Now, I might go back on this in November and see this as my dumbest prediction I've ever made on YouTube, so just take that into account, that a lot can change in 10 months. But I'm going to have a bit of a positive bias for the future. With the vaccine rolling out over time and the current predictions having over 1 billion vaccinations by the start or middle of the summer, it's not out of the question to have a full finale crowd. Add to this that Arizona is a state that is pretty bullish on reopening, compared to others that is, and I think the factors are coming together into place for a very good finish at the end of the season and at the end of the Gen 6 era. And so, that's it. My 21 predictions for 2021. Now, I want to pass this all on to you. What are your predictions for the 2021 NASCAR season? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. And until next time, have a good one.